Hello everyone, Kelly Long. I'm here to talk to you about my research project. I'm going to give you a little bit background of my research project and why I started it. I'm an elementary art teacher, K through 4, and a mother of a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, both daughters. I was constantly always wondering the overuse of social media, electronic devices, and the effects it has on cognitive behaviors. I was always wondering if it has an effect in the art room and also in school. So I decided to observe some students and also my own daughter who has shown behaviors when it was time to get off of her iPad, or if she was on like the Facebook messaging app for kids and Roblox. There was times when people on the other end were bullying her, and she would always get upset and kind of feel depressed, and things like that shouldn't be for a child her age. She is 10 years old, and if it was to take off the iPad, before I did this study, was horrendous. She would go into a huge temper tantrum and cry, actually get really angry that I was kind of worried about her at one point. So this is the reason why I started this research project, so I could see if I could not only research how it affects children in school and in the art class, but also to see if I could help my own daughter. So I started this research project, started observing some children in school, did a survey also on social media, on Facebook, and still doing a little bit of surveys with the children in school. With the observations that I have done in school, I would observe children just in their environment and hear their conversations about the video games that they play, the Roblox, and things that I've noticed were a lot of them saying that they were bored of the projects that they were doing because they'd rather be home playing their video games or on social media. So I ended up bringing into the art classroom, for example, we did instead of self-portrait Lego people, we did self-portrait Roblox people, and they seemed to be very interested in that. I was bringing in some of their interests and allowing them to kind of incorporate their social media and their video games into the projects. I'm going to continue doing that throughout the school year, seeing how I could incorporate them so they could continue to be interested in the projects that we are doing. One thing that I found interesting was a teenager. I was sitting to get my nails done, and a teenager that worked at the nail salon had to answer the actual business phone and talk to a customer and tell a customer when they were opening and closing that day. After hanging up the phone, she mentioned how awkward it was actually talking to somebody on a phone. However, she looked down a minute later and started texting her friends with no problem. So it's pretty interesting how technology is helping us, but it's also hindering us a lot through communication and being able to communicate effectively with people. So some of the questions that I have for my research study are, let me pull them up real quick so that way I could make sure I have them all for you. One of the questions that I started with were, are students being overwhelmed and overstimulated by external factors such as video games and apps? Is the overstimulation causing anxiety in children in earlier ages, which I have witnessed several times in my own daughter? Is this affecting their ability to learn effectively in school? How can I get students to create works of art not related to their video games and apps? So, going on my research project, I decided to do a survey on social media, and the questions that were on the social media app was things like your child's gender, child's age, what device does your child use to access social media often, what is your child's preferred social media platform, how many hours per day does your child spend on social media, how often would you check your child's online activity, What emotions do your children experience when using social networking sites? And what effects do they think may occur from and what effects do you think may occur from the overuse of social media? Also, I asked, do you believe that the excessive use of social media will have a lasting effect on your children's emotional development and mental health? When I did the survey, what I found very interesting was a lot of people said that when their child was on their iPod or their computer or app, the child seemed happy, calm, and not overexcited, not full of anxiety. They were calm, they were happy, they had emotions that were positive. However, when asked what effects they think may occur from the overuse of social media, a lot of them did answer that it could cause anger issues, anxiety, and lack of communication with their peers, which was interesting because the child is looking like they're happy and calm. However, the parents know that the lasting effects can cause anxiety and anger issues. So it's very important to monitor children's social media. And that is one thing that I started doing with my own daughter. So I'm observing the students and going to do surveys with the students to see how they are and how they think they are. So it'll be interesting to see how the parents are viewing their child online compared to how the students are actually feeling. So that would be my next part of the research project that I'm doing. With my own daughter, I started using a parenting app that locks the Wi-Fi at home at 8 o'clock. She thinks that the app and the phone is actually doing it itself, and that the Wi-Fi company knows that it's a child's device and that they have to go to bed for school. She doesn't know mom has the control over it yet, and hopefully it stays that way. But since I've locked it and I'm able to shut it off at 7:30 during the weekend or weekday for schooling, and then I give her till 9 o'clock during the weekend, she has been better. Going to bed at time, waking up good, not giving me a hard time waking up. She has her grades have been improving, which is wonderful. She's doing her homework and not worried about playing Roblox and Facebook. And I'm seeing a huge improvement on her behavior, and she seems to be a lot happier. And I'm going to continue doing this research and finding out maybe surveying her and how she felt before and after the Wi-Fi company decided to cut her off early and give her restrictions on her iPod and iPad. So I'm going to continue doing that research, and things that I found, just how, let me see what else I want to say. No, I think that would be everything. I think I covered everything. Sorry for the wet hair. I just took my shower. It's 10 o'clock at night. I had to wait until everybody was in bed. And that would be all. Have a good night.